Have you been constantly told that you're too shy? You're the quiet type. Oh, she doesn't talk a lot. Why don't you go out more? Why don't you participate? Look how much fun others are having, and you're just sitting in the corner. Stop being so weird. Can you talk about something fun for once? Well, you may be an introvert, living in an extroverted world, and there's nothing wrong with you, but there is something seriously wrong with society. And you're not alone. Did you know, statistically, about 50% of the Indian population comprises of introverts? I know, right? कहाँ है ये? अपने में. So about 675 million people who are introverted have to change themselves in order to fit in or to be successful in a world that practically rewards extroverted behavior. People who are more sociable, more outgoing. So for all my social butterflies and peacocks, along with all the misunderstood daydreamers out there, let's unpack. क्या है ये introverts? क्या चाहते हैं ये? कहाँ से आए हैं? कहाँ को जाएंगे? पागल लड़की मुझे मरवाई. Shut up. Okay, so introversion and extroversion are both personality traits, but they are widely misunderstood. It's more complex than simply saying being shy or being outgoing. Being an introvert can be especially challenging for children and teenagers, where they might find it especially difficult to fit in and navigate through the social peer hierarchy while constantly feeling overstimulated in attempts to be accepted or cool. And to phrase it in a more easily digestible fashion, it's a matter of what gives you energy and what drains it. Introverts feel energized when they conduct social interactions in groups of small individuals. What? No. What are small individuals? Okay. Introverts feel energized when they conduct social interactions in groups of small people. Let's try again. Introverts feel energized when they conduct group. Why is it so hard? Introverts feel energized when they conduct social interactions within smaller groups of people, mostly with whom they have a more comfortable relationship, and they don't have to put on a mask. They can just be authentically themselves. Extroverts, on the other hand, feel energized by socializing within large groups of people, having many friends, and being more socially involved in other people's lives, as opposed to limiting their circle to a small, intimate group of people. So, while researching for this topic, I went through a few credible sources and I found three popular recurring myths that people have about those with the introverted personality type. Myth number one: introverts are shy. All shy people are introverts. Well, this has to be the most common one. Shyness and introversion are two different personality traits. Sure, you can be shy and an introvert, but you can very well be an extrovert and also be shy. However, unlike introversion, shyness has nothing to do with how you expend or regain your energy. Shyness often fades as you adjust to new situations and become more comfortable in your surroundings. So, you might not feel like striking up a conversation on your first day of school or college, but 2 weeks into it, you might become more comfortable with your surroundings and you might find it easier to strike up a conversation with other people. Consistent acceptance from others can also help ease feelings of shyness going forward. Introversion, however, remains more of a fixed part of your personality. And so it is not necessarily true that if you are an introvert, you also have to be shy. Many introverts feel confident and at ease around people. They just simply require more quiet downtime to refuel the energy that they have expended during social interactions. Myth number two: introverts don't like to be around people. Introverts don't like people. Well, that's a bit harsh. We love people. We like people. People are fine. Introverts do like people, but they may prefer quality over quantity when it comes to relationships. It's a more conscious decision on their part to create smaller circles of close friends rather than larger networks of acquaintances. For introverts, it's primarily about deeply knowing people they choose to spend their time with. And this can turn quite impossible in larger groups of people. The conversation keeps shifting quickly. It's difficult to draw any kind of meaning or value. So, yeah, that don't float their boat. So, I think it is safe to say they do enjoy social interactions, but in kind of a different manner than how extroverts do. Myth number 3: introverts can fix themselves and become extroverts. Introverts just need to try harder to be social. God, it's like asking a monkey to swim like a fish and a fish to climb a tree. Introverts and extroverts have their natural inclinations and they thrive in their preferred environments. So, forcing yourself to interact with others when what you really need is some alone time, it will most likely leave you furthermore stressed out and exhausted. And if you're content and happy with the way you are and you don't see the need to change your social habits, then you do you, man. You do you. People who care about you genuinely will not take it personally, nor will they shame you for it. So now you might be wondering what causes introversion and extroversion. It is determined by both nature and nurture. So there is a genetic component, but there is also an environmental and experiential component. And there is some evidence to suggest the role of brain chemistry. There is seen a link between neurotransmitter called dopamine, which is a chemical that is essential for brain's reward system, and extroversion and introversion. A 2007 study of 130 Russian participants suggests people with higher levels of extroversion may respond differently to dopamine. In short, extroverts get a jolt of satisfaction or energy from social interactions because of dopamine. Introverts, by contrast, simply feel overstimulated. So, according to Big Five personality traits, one of which happens to be extroversion, introversion is understood simply as lower levels of extroversion, which makes introversion in and of itself an immeasurable trait. That means if you take the test and you score lower on extroversion, then that means you're higher on introversion and you are an introvert. So, as an introvert, you are self reflective, self aware, need a quiet environment to concentrate. You take your sweet time when you need to make decisions. You feel comfortable being alone. You don't particularly enjoy group activities. You prefer to write rather than talk. You probably have fewer friendships, but you are very close with those friends. You often find yourself daydreaming, or you use your imagination to work out problems, and you retreat into your mind to rest. Now, it is important to remember that there is no one size fits all here, but as an introvert, you are likely to have some variation of these general behavior patterns. If anything you take away from this video, I want it to be that you start thinking of introversion and extroversion as more of a spectrum. Psychologist Carl Jung, who first described introversion and extroversion in the 1920s, noted that introverts and extroverts could be separated based on how they regain their energy. Today, we know most people aren't purely introverts nor purely extroverts. People generally fall somewhere along the spectrum with elements of both the traits. So you could be an ambivert. Some mostly introverted people enjoy acting on stage or throwing parties, while some people who identify as extroverts could still seek out solitude from time to time, perhaps when they need to focus on a challenging project. We need to also remember that a lot of great people were introverts. Mahatma Gandhi was an introvert. Emma Watson is an introvert. Michael Jordan, Albert Einstein, Elton John, Audrey Hepburn, Abraham Lincoln, Rosa Parks. They're all inspiring people and they were all introverts or are all introverts. So I'm interested in knowing if you are a mystical introvert watching this, what has been your experience living in an extroverted world? Comment down below and don't forget to like and subscribe. And as Dr. Mike would say, stay happy and healthy. And I will see you in the next one.